College Station. I'm Grace Hollowell, and I'm joined once again today by Jennifer Nations, the water chick from Water Services. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
It is going into your busy season here.
Yes.
It's hard to believe spring is here already.
I know.
Although today it doesn't feel like it. It's pretty cold out
Yeah.
there. But it is a good reminder that we need to start thinking about our irrigation systems
Right.
in our home. So let's share some tips on what we need to do to get everything set for the spring and summer season.
So if you follow water conservation practices and you only water when needed, you probably haven't irrigated since last November, although a lot of people have been watering since before Valentine's Day. I'm looking at you, people. But yeah, if you turned your water off, it's time to turn it back on. Go through your sprinkler system zone by zone, just turn it on, make sure that everything is working properly, make sure there's no broken or misdirected sprinkler heads, make sure that you didn't have any pipes freeze over the winter or crack or something like that. That's like step one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Water Services offers, if you're not sure or if you're unfamiliar or new to having an irrigation system, you guys do free checkups.
Yes, we do. I do free landscape irrigation checkups, and I've had a few requests for those come in already. So if you've asked for one of those and you haven't heard back, be patient. I'm going to get to everybody. But yeah, ideally, the ideal irrigation checkup customer is somebody who doesn't really understand how their system works, and they are maybe programming it to run too often, and I can come in and show them, look, when you were watering 4 times every day and you had these long run times, that was causing you to use this many thousands of gallons every time you ran your system. But oftentimes people just don't know how long to run a zone, or they don't know what the different types of sprinkler heads are, and I can help them with that too.
Yes. Now, you don't do any repairs, but you
Correct.
can recommend if something needs repaired.
Yeah, if something needs repair, I'll write it down on the inspection form, and then I give people a list of licensed irrigators, and it's just irrigators that I know happen to have the proper licensing from TCEQ. It's not like a recommended endorsement or anything. So if someone is not on the list, but they are a licensed irrigator, they can contact me and I'll put them on the list. But it's not like a good housekeeping seal of approval or anything. Yeah.
And the main reason for this is, our summers get very hot. The last few summers, the drought season has kind of been exponential.
Right.
So we want to try and conserve water where we can before it gets to a point where we need to put those restrictions in place again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we did do that for the first time ever last August. We, put in our stage 1 of our drought contingency plan, and we told people you can only water on this day during these hours. And it was still a really generous window for irrigation. It was just trying to limit how often people water, because sometimes people water every single day and they don't need to, or they'll water 4 times a week and they don't need to. When we get up to like 27 million gallons of pumping 27 million gallons of water a day, that's too much, and that's just not sustainable. And we have to remember that College Station is pumping from the Carrizo-Wilcox Aquifer, so is Texas A&M, so is Bryant, and then it's a huge aquifer that covers the whole state, and so there's other areas that are also pumping. And if everybody is just irrigating with abandon, then that puts stress on the aquifer, and that is our only source of water.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the contingency plan brings up a good point, because you guys are working on a presentation to council for the next one. So what can people do if they feel like there needs to be something added to the plan?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've got 2 tools in our toolbox. The drought contingency plan is our emergency management tool that keeps the system running in an emergency condition, which is a drought, extreme water demand. Then we also have the water conservation plan, which is long-term best management practices to incentivize water conservation and keep and just do responsible use of our water resources. So if there was anything that was just unmanageable last summer, like let's say that there was a business who could not comply with the watering restrictions, and we had a few call in and say, look, I can't water on these days, but we can cut back and we can water this way. I mean, that's fine. If there was something that customers saw in another city and they said, gosh, I wish College Station had X to incentivize water conservation. Let me know, let your city council person know. I want to hear back. These are 2 plans that are required to be updated every 5 years, but we want them to be something that reflects what's best for the water utility and something that helps our community.
Right. And the best way to do that is to get involved. And there are a couple different learning opportunities coming up to learn more.
Correct.
Starting with the seminar supper, which happens here at City Hall. You'll be the guest speaker. Talk a little bit about that one.
Yeah, I love the title that they came up with for it. I said, just come up with whatever title you want. It's Preserving Your Liquid Gold.
Yes.
And water resources really are our liquid gold. And I'm going to go over the differences between the 2 plans and the similarities, and talk about what goes into them, talk about how they're updated, how often they're updated, and then what that means for the customer. For example, like if we go into stage 1, what does that mean for us? And what does stage 1 mean for someone else? What does something like water loss reporting mean? That's one of the tools in our water conservation plan. We have other tools like universal metering, irrigation checkups. I'll talk about all the different tools that we have for that. And then just talk about how we can stay out of our water emergencies. We went into stage 1 last summer. We do have stage 1, stage 2. I think the next plan will have 4 stages so that we're not, so that we have a little bit more flexibility in between. But it should be known that when you get into the later drought stages, those are pretty extreme, and we really need people to comply with whatever is requested so that we can maintain the health of the water system.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to attend that event, you can email neighborhood services at cstx.gov to reserve your spot. You'll learn a lot, have a yummy dinner.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time. And then another event, which I think is the first one that we're doing, is a Fix a Leak workshop at the Gary Halter Nature Center. So I know I'm a recent homeowner. I know nothing.
Yeah.
I try my best to learn, but there's some things that I just don't know that are above my head. And especially if I ever had a water leak, I don't think I would know the first thing of what to do or even how to check that if something's leaking. So what can people expect from this event?
So the theme for Fix a Leak Week is Fix Your Flapper, which it refers to your toilet flapper. And Fix a Leak Week is a educational week put out by the EPA WaterSense program, and College Station is a promotional partner of EPA WaterSense, and it's a conservation program from EPA, and they have lots of facts and figures and tools, but they have some guidelines for how to repair toilet flappers. The toilet flapper is the thing that when you flush the toilet, it lifts up in the toilet and it lets all of that water from the tank go into the bowl. So I'll pass out some little toilet tank leak detector tablets. They're little dye tablets, and you put like 1 in the tank. And don't flush, and then if any of that dye goes into the bowl, then you have a leak in your. A lot of times the water is just kind of seeping by the flapper,
Yes.
and those can really drive up your water bill. I've seen on multiple occasions people have water bills of like 90 to 100,000 gallons just from
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. And sometimes it's the phantom flush, like when the toilet is flushing at 2:00 in the morning or something. But other times it's just you might look at the bowl and see a little bit of movement in the water. That's just the water trickling past the flapper, and it wastes so much. But it's a relatively simple repair, and that's one thing that you can do. I'll also talk about how to read your water meter and see if there is water going through the meter when you think that maybe there should not be water going through the meter. I'll talk about how to look for leaks in your sprinkler system. Sometimes if you have a leaking sprinkler head, you're only going to see that leak when the system is running. So
Right.
It's a good idea to turn it on and have eyes on your sprinkler system once or twice a month. And I'll talk about how to fix those too.
And remind me when that is, the date and time.
So that's Friday, March 22nd, which is also World Water Day.
Yes.
And it's going to be 12 to 1 at the Gary Halter Nature Center. It's a brown bag lunch and learn type thing.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
It's always fun having you here. If people have any questions or want to know more, where can they find out more?
They can just email me, jnations@cstx.gov.
Or cstx.gov/water.
Yep.
It's a lot of great resources there.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me again.
Thanks for having me.
And that's what's up.